Chapter 6047. Charlie asked her, "You mean, he planned my present day more than 300 years ago?" Maria nodded heavily and said, "Perhaps all of this is the longest fishing trip. It's just that the master's target is not the young master's father." Charlie answered, "His target is me." "Yes," Maria said firmly, "I feel the same way. No one knows where the master comes from. He started planning this matter when he was young. But he would never do it just for the so-called inheritance." Charlie asked her back, "Then what do you think he was doing all his efforts for hundreds of years ago? He himself was clearly more than 300 years old. He died a while ago." Maria thought for a while and asked him. The Rothschild family that the young master met in the United States this time is one of the richest families in the world. The young master feels that Simon is currently what does he care about most? Charlie said, "What he cares about most is naturally lifespan." After saying that, Charlie asked again. "Miss Lin means that Meng Changxing set up this trap for the sake of longevity." Maria nodded and said seriously, "Father said that a master is actually a person with extremely weak material and S3 Zul desires. No matter whether it is the late Yuan, Ming or early Ming or the late Ming or early Qing, he had the ability to aspire to the 9th five-year plan. But he didn't care about worldly conflicts of interests at all. The only thing he cared about is longevity." Charlie agreed and said, "I don't know much about him, but from some anecdotes I learned, it can be inferred that this person is indeed obsessed with immortality. But shouldn't he have died hundreds of years ago?" Maria said, "I dare not arbitrarily infer the master's life and death. But I can be sure that the master announced this trap full of conspiracy. He must need a rising dragon like the young master to help him achieve his goal of immortality. It is very likely that he is hoping that the young master can go to Shawanda Mountain and throw himself into a trap. I guess that this is why the fake monk that day stopped us and hoped for a reasonable explanation from me to persuade you not to move forward." After saying that, Maria added, "So, regarding this trap, I feel that there are two possibilities at the moment. One possibility is that the trap will be triggered at timeliness. That is to say, it only makes sense if it is triggered when the master is alive. But the master himself did not expect that this trap would take so long. Until his death, he could not meet anyone who could trigger it. Even this trap was not officially opened until the moment your father discovered the preface to the 9 Mysteries Scriptures. If this is the case, Shawandashan should not pose any substantial threat to the young master." At this point, Maria spoke solemnly, got up, and continued. "Another possibility is that the master knows that this trap will be triggered in unknown years and months. But for him, it does not matter when it is triggered, as long as it is triggered. If this is the case, then the master, most likely not dead yet." "Not dead yet?" Charlie frowned and asked her, "If he hasn't died yet, then he should have mastered a way to increase his lifespan from 1,000 years to longer. And if he hasn't died, he should be stronger than me now. Countless times stronger than Victoria. Why bother to stay silent in Shiwen Mountain for so many years?" After saying that, Charlie added, "In other words, if he needs me, a person with a rising dragon rank, to do something for him, he can come to me directly without having to go to all the trouble to lead me there." Maria looked at Charlie, then at the green and vibrant mother of Puchar in the yard outside the window, and asked Charlie, "Master, think about the experience of the mother of Puchar. For more than 300 years, I have felt that she had been wiped out in that catastrophe. But I never expected that she had her own way to preserve a glimmer of life for herself. Its vitality was like an eternally silent seed. If without the spring rain that belongs to her, she can remain silent in the soil for 100, 1,000, or even 10,000 years. But once the rain falls, she will be reborn and emerge from the earth." At this time, Maria and Charlie looked at each other and murmured, "Sir, I feel that the master should also have his own way to silence his slim chance of life indefinitely in Shiwen Mountain like the mother of Puchar. Once he wants it, when the spring rain falls, he can be reborn in Nirvana just like the mother of Pucha, and the young master is the spring rain he is waiting for." Charlie looked at the mother of Pucha, although the branches in the sun were still very beautiful. Slender, but much stronger than when it first broke the ground. At this moment, a curled bud slowly opened in the sun, revealing a smaller and more tender bud. Charlie's heart suddenly felt an obvious sinking feeling, and he was slightly nervous and panicked. Maria suddenly took Charlie's hand and asked with a somewhat frightened expression, "Master, do you still remember what you said to me the day of the battle with Germo?" Charlie nodded. "Of course, I remember." Maria said, "The young master once told me that Germo said before opening the Niwen Palace it doesn't matter even if the young master destroys his body. He can change his body to seek revenge from the young master?" Charlie nodded and said, "Yes, he did say that." Maria asked anxiously, "Master, do you think there is really such an evil method of taking away the body in this world?"